Alright, what's going on, guys? I am finally feeling better. So today we are going to be covering the 1.6 patch notes. I'm going to skip the UI and the battle pass and the store news and that stuff, and we're just going to start with the map adjustments. So based off this picture, they're adding some gaps and stuff into the walls and lowering some walls to allow for more movement. This will work really good with like Morin's augmentation and with like Gideon teleport, and it just allows for movement from other champs that just didn't have that much movement. So I'm all for it. What? Okay, I can't get out of this. Oh, it's because I opened that. Okay, never mind. Sorry. So rank party size changes, everyone knows that. Party size of 1, 2, 3, or 5 all the way up to diamond ranked. Above diamond, the previous limit of 1 or 2 players in a party still applies, but why no 4 stacks? Here's the explanation if you want to read that. They added a refer a friend, and they've changed the way that the controller button icons work. I'm going to skip all the augments and stuff because that will take forever, and we're just going to go straight to balance changes. So here's some stuff for the augment stuff and just kind of a breakdown of what they've done. So gold drip has been decreased, and death timers have been increased mid game. Gold drip is pretty much just how much gold you gain over time from like doing nothing. So they decreased it a little bit, so you're going to have to focus on minions more, and you get more punished in mid game. But you get more gold from all minions just by a little bit. Melee minions has went from 19 to 31 all the way up to 21 to 33, so 2 gold increase. Ranged minions, another 2 gold increase. 55 plus 5 per level to 60 plus 5 per level for siege minions. Jungle camp spawn has been increased from like red camp and blue camp spawning at 1 minute to minute 05, and the reason why is because they don't want people to be, they don't want like mid laner or ADC or off laner, mid laner, like they don't want them to be there to help with that. So now it's going to be more of a, you get punished more for it because there's less gold drip too. So I honestly don't think this patch is going to be worth it to try and help your jungler get the camp, especially if you're like mid lane or yeah, any lane, in all honesty. Excuse me, unless you're like support could probably still do it. So many prime, they have decreased the damage reduction for just all minions in many. Pretty much if it was like early game and they got like an early many prime, it was bad. Like you can just lose your lane because if you're already losing and they got many, it was just impossible to actually stop them, and I'm there for that change. They did the same thing with orb minions because it's about the same. It's just those minions were way too strong. They've always been way too strong. So I'm glad with that change. It just makes it so that you're more likely to kill them and be able to save your lane from just insta dying. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. Blue buff, so they increased the amount of gold you get from blue buff. They increased the creep score, and the ability damage has been increased for that. They did almost the same thing for red buff, except it's just gold and creep score. But yeah, they just want bonus damage on that blue buff, so it's a bit better. And then the rest of it, these are all changes to help with the gold drip change. Pretty much they have to change a lot of the stuff around to make it work with the gold drip being lower. So they have to increase the gold for all these. So you get more for clearing camps now, which is good. And that's just in general, like all the gold has been increased. Alright, on to the hero balance changes. First we have Crunch. So secondary, his knock up, or his E, empowered right Crunch's hitbox is now persistent when it is used midair, and now matches Crunch's uppercut animation more closely instead of only targeting enemies immediately on cast. So this is a change to go with his augments, and yeah, it's better for him, so it lasts longer. So yeah, that's cool. It's easier to use. Greystone, finally some Greystone nerfs are coming inbound. Holy, okay. So they decreased the amount of health growth, which is good. That's just, he won't have as much health at the beginning of the game and towards the end of the game. Another cough, sorry. They decreased his bonus physical power scaling, so he's not going to hit as hard. Like I said before, that Sky Splitter Spectra build is just so strong on him, and now he's not going to hit as hard by 5%. Passive, his max health regen has also been decreased by 0.5%. That will, it doesn't seem like these are really big changes, but trust me, these are really big for Greystone. He's going to have to build tankier now, which is good. It fixes a lot of that problems. You'll still have like Greystone jungle, it's still going to work. It's just he's not going to be as strong. He's still there, just not in the foreground, hopefully. Who really knows? And they decreased his physical power scaling on his secondary to 30% from 35%. So yeah, just an all-around nerf, just to make it so that he's just not as strong, not as tanky, doesn't hit as hard. Yeah. All right, so some Grim changes. This is mainly to help him with his augments. So one of his augments is going to be, essentially it'll work kind of like Fang Mao ult, where if you get a kill, you'll get his ult back, and then you can use it again. And if you get that kill, you get his ult back. So they increased his ultimate damage. So that'll help with that augment, and it'll just help him in general. His ult has always been kind of weak, especially in comparison to like Murdoch ult. Like, you know, an ult that can go all the way across the map. The only difference is this one is a lock-on ability. And yeah, so that's cool. I'm fine with that. Quang. So Quang has always been like pretty tanky, so they are decreasing his health growth and his physical armor growth just by a few ticks, by 5 for the health and by 0.2 for his physical armor. This is just so he's not as tanky. Quang has been a really big problem in this current patch, not 1.6, but in this patch. He's just been so tanky, and he could literally be like anywhere. Like, he can literally jump into a team fight everyone, and still be able to get out with, you know, maybe he's almost dead, but you can still get out due to his ult and his teleporting and all that stuff. But it's also because of the changes. Like, for instance, one of his augments is going to allow you to place his sword down and like back, and then you can teleport straight to his sword no matter where it's at on the map. So it's kind of like they have to combat that, and they did this by making him not as tanky. They decreased the attack speed on his passive, which I'm fine with. I feel like his attack speed was a little ridiculous. It didn't really make sense for him to have such high attack speed. You would hit his passive and it'd be like kinking, and it's like, why is he swinging his sword that fast? Like, why can't he just 2-hit me like that instantly? Because he used his like right click. So that's a good change, and I think that needed to happen in the patch before. Morn, some Morn changes. Morn has been a really big, massive health champ. You build like Raiment, you build Cat Drive, like you build all these really big health items on him. So they've decreased his health growth, and they increased his passive cooldown, so he's not going to heal as much, and his healing max health has been decreased from 4 to 10% to 3 to 9%. So just like a 1% drop, which is a very tiny tweak. You can tell that they want him to still be a health champ. They just feel like he's really, really strong for, you know, getting all of his health back. I just released like a Morn video, and in that video I literally went from like having 5 health to having like full health in literally like 2 minutes, which is a bit ridiculous whenever it's like 3,000 health. Like, that's a lot of health to regain, and it's not even from backing, it's just from sitting in lane, and I don't have any type of lifesteal item either. He just has that much passive healing, it's insane. So this is pretty good. Morn is still going to be really strong because it's not much of a change. It's just enough to where you might see some other supports, and is not going to just be Morn all the time. Seraph changes. Seraph is really strong right now with her ability build, that Omen, what was it called? Sorry, that Ashbringer Omen build, and I like to build Infernum on her too, because it does more damage over time. It's just so strong on her, and they're going to make her squishier. So they decreased her health growth, and they decreased her armor. That way, she gets punished more for going in, because she's a really big melee go-in champ. So now you'll probably expect to see more like Tyranny and some more like armor or lifesteal on her. I would expect to see more Sky Splitter, in all honesty, which I am all for it. I really like Sarah. She's probably my best jungler, so it's kind of like, if this is, you know, if she needs to be more squishy, go for it. I'm fine with it. I still think that she's going to be nearly as strong, just, you know, not as strong. If she was like an S before, she's probably still an S, if not high A. Like, she's still going to be pretty good. Phase, excuse me, I got a cough. Sorry. So they increased the attack range on Phase, so she has more poke from 1300 to 1500. This actually kind of makes me wonder if I was to build like Prophecy on her. The way the Soulbinder works, I don't remember if it's ability based or if it's just any type of magical armor. I want to double check, that way I don't mislead anyone. So give me just 2 seconds here. If I can spell soul, Soulbinder. Okay, no. So the way Soulbinder works is it triggers Arcane Salvo, which damages heroes from afar with abilities. A basic attack is not an ability, if I'm remembering correctly. So Prophecy would not proc Soulbinder in this case. But her other one, I think it's her Q, the big beam that does the root. I don't remember what button it is because support's not my best role. I don't really play support that much. I believe that one's 1500. I think. You could still proc Soulbinder. But yep, that's pretty good for her poke and stuff. I'm fine with that, though I've always felt like Phase is pretty strong with her being able to pull people back and stuff. There are some phases though where they really like screw over their teammates because they'll just constantly pull them away from a fight whenever they should be going in. So we'll see how this works. I think it'll be fine. Maybe it'll be too strong. I'm there for it though. I think it's fine. Rampage. So they changed the way his camera works whenever he picks up his boulder. So rather than it being like locked in that angle, it'll just, you can still move it like normal, which I'm fine with that. It'll be a little funky, a little hard to get used to, but it should be all right. Next we have Skylar. So I feel like Skylar's really not that strong. A lot of people disagree with me, apparently, at least as far as I know. I feel like Skylar is about even. She might be a little bit stronger than like the regular ADCs, but I think she's like relatively balanced, maybe a little stronger, but not like absurd. She's not broken by far. But they've decreased her magical power scaling from 5 to 4%, and her bonus physical power scaling has also been decreased by another percentage. So she's just not going to hit as hard. And that's pretty much exactly what they say here, is they just feel like her output is too strong in comparison to other carries, which is fine. It is pretty strong with like her ult and stuff like that, and how much range she has, and how much aerial and like escape she has. So I'm fine with that. I've never really been a big fan of Skylar, so it's kind of like, all right, does it really affect me? Maybe it'll affect a lot of you Skylar mains or people that really like Skylar. So they are changing the way Sparrow works, at least for her ult. Her power scaling has been decreased on her ult for the center and side arrow, because, you know, it shoots 3 arrows out. So for her center arrow, which hits the hardest, it's going to decrease from 90% to 80%, and her side arrow is decreasing from 70 to 65%. So you really need to focus a lot more on hitting that center. In all honesty, I don't know how I feel about this change, because it's kind of like Sparrow's obviously not that strong right now. Like, she's decently strong. She can play with the other ADCs. I think I'm gonna say other mid laners for some reason. She can play with other carries, like, pretty easily. This might be a change that actually makes it so that people just don't play her anymore, because her ult really isn't all that reliable anymore anyways. Like, you can get mezzed out of her ult if Morn is there, and it cancels her ult. Like, that's insane. If I go to ult and Morn mezzes me or pulls me, it cancels my ult entirely. So I do no damage. I maybe get like 2 shots off, and that's just it. It's go by. So I don't know. I feel like her ult is supposed to be a big melt thing, and they could do other things to change it. Like, maybe she shoots a lot faster, so it's more of like a, you know, if someone blinks away and you're like, it'll slow you down a lot more. You just can't kill them. But yeah, I think it's a fine change. I just worry that it's literally going to make it so that anybody who has been playing her, which isn't a lot of people, they're going to stop playing her, because, you know, her ult, like, her one really good thing about her that really, like, you know, was unique to that character, is now going to be nerfed. So and not by like 5%, but by 10%. Like, she's getting a harder nerf than Greystone is in terms of damage, which is kind of like, yeah, but Greystone doesn't do a lot of damage anyways, so it's kind of like, all right, ADCs are meant to do damage. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. But the main reason why they're doing this, though, is also because of augments. You have to really remember for this patch, augments are coming in, so probably change this for her augments. Terra, so there's a really big change for Terra. I'm super excited for this. Her axe throw that has like the root and the slow is now going to be a lobbed projectile, so it'll have gravity to it, and it pierces heroes too, so you can now hit multiple heroes with it, and it's not just a one hero. So this is really good. Like, it has unlimited range for as long as the gravity, you know, persists or whatever. And yeah, I think that's a really good change. I'm excited to play some more Terra and experience this this really small rework, especially with her new augment, her new axe retrieval augment. It says it right there. So that was another reason why they did this change, and I like it. I'm ready for it. Wraith, so they have decreased his magical power, his drone magical power, and the drone ability haste has been decreased. So this is to kind of push people once again to a new augment. It really is just a lot of these changes are going to be focused around nerfing a character to make it so that their augment is more viable. So if anything, you could probably scrap everything I said about Sparrow. It's just a big augment change, so they're going to nerf him. His primary, his max health, damage power scaling has been decreased from 2.5% to 2%, and his knock, the power scaling has also been decreased from 70 to 60%. Once again, for augment changes. Yeah, a Mage Wraith, should he opt his new Mystic Marksman augment. So, once again, augment change. Interesting changes, though. I played up against some Wraith, and honestly, in ranked, Wraith is kind of annoying to deal with, especially support Wraith. He just has so much poke. Even for, like, Morn, it's really hard to be able to get enough health back to be able to go in to fight a Wraith. It's so much poke, and it's so much damage over time. So maybe this will kind of combat that a little bit. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes with the augments and stuff. It might not even matter. So Wukong, they're making Wukong a lot squishier. His health has been decreased, his health growth, his armor growth, and his power has all been decreased by about 2, pretty much, on average. Well, no, more like 5, because 715 to 705 for his health. Health growth 121 to 117. Physical armor growth 4 to 3.8. Physical power 60 to 58. So he's just been pretty much all around nerfed. His passive cooldown has been changed, so it's higher. So it used to be 16.5 to 5.45 at the end game, and now it's going to be 19 to 5.4. So it went from being like a minus 0.65 per level to a point. Actually, wait. I'm reading this wrong. Okay, so it'll have a longer cooldown at the beginning, but towards the end, it'll be down by my God, sorry, I can't speak. I'm starting to get sick. And so at the end of the game, it will be at 5.4 instead of 5.45. So it'll go down by a whole 0.05 seconds. So it's like, okay. So it won't really be noticeable all that much, like very slightly. So damage has been decreased on him from 60 to 210 to 60 to 185. So yeah, he won't be hitting that 200 mark with his secondary off of just levels. His ultimate clone damage total physical power scaling has been decreased from 20% to 16%. I think this is a fine change, because for a lot of like squishier champs, whenever you see a Wukong running at you and he has all those little clones running around him, they can really surround you, and they do a lot. So Zinx, they did a bug fix to fix her projectile turning invisible. Whenever I read this, I was like, have I experienced that? And yes, I believe I have experienced that at least once or twice. I haven't played Zinx, but I've seen it, if I can recall correctly. Her secondary bad medicine, the damage has been increased from 35 to 95 to 40 to 100 late game. So her magical power scaling has been increased from 25 to 30. Her erupt damage has been increased from 50 to 170 to 55 to 175. Whenever I do that, by the way, I'm just doing the beginning and the end, and then to what it's changed to, so the beginning and the end. So it's really 50 to 55, and then end game 170 to 175. I figure I should specify that for anyone who's listening and you're like, wait, what? What do you mean 50 to 170? Like, she's going to be doing 170 damage at the start? No, late game she'll do 170, or she was doing 170, but now it'll be 175. Her erupt magical power scaling has been increased from 40% to 45%. So yeah, just all around changes to make, well, all around changes. They're pretty much just, besides this bug fix, they're just making it so that she does more damage with her E, because she's just not really that viable after they changed the, like, how much healing she has. She just doesn't really do enough damage to warrant picking Zinx. There's still been some Zinxes and stuff, but like with how much health she's giving to people, it's just kind of like, like a Narbash will do better, pretty much. So some item balance changes. First, we have Dread. They increased its physical power from 40 to 45. So this is better for like assassins and people like that suffer a lot from mages. Infernum, its physical power has been increased from 40 to 45, and its ability haste has been decreased from 15 to 10. There's also to make it more viable for assassins and stuff like that. I'm all for it. I love a good Infernum, so I'm excited for that change. I hope to see a lot more Infernum. On the fighters now, augmentation. Its True Strike total physical power scaling has been decreased from 35 to 30. And I can see this. I literally played a crunch game last night, and I did augment first. And I was able to just wipe the floor with a Chimera that I was fighting. Early game too, like I just got augment and I was able to wipe the floor with him. And yeah, and Kai is very squishy, don't get me wrong. Kai's, you know, he's pretty squishy and he relies more on fast attacking lifesteal than anything. So, you know, it's kind of like maybe you just messed up with his combos. Yeah. And that's also to help with like tankier heroes doing too much. So support due to the gold drip decrease, they had to lower the cost for all of the support items. So that's what all this is. Sorry. I'll do one more super slow scroll through all of these so you can pause and you can kind of see what's going on here. Yeah, I'll do it a little bit faster. Actually, how about that? So pretty small changes. It's normally about 100. Some of them are like 50. Some of them are 150. But it's all just roughly around there. Not too big for changes, and once again, it's just due to gold drip. Here are all of the bug fixes. Once again, I'll go pretty slow so that you can pause and read them if you would like. I never cover the bug fixes because there's no reason to. And yeah, that is the end of the 1.6 patch notes. I am super excited for Uri, another you know, another assassin offlane champ. I really wish that we would have had a new mid laner. I'm hoping the next champ is a mid laner. If they don't do that, I will actually like explode. Like I will stand up and rip my shirt off so you can. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.